Tolkien was a real master of his craft. The world of Middle-earth and Arda, that was something that he'd worked on since maybe his 20s, I guess. I need to read his biography again, but it was like really early. It was a multi-decade process. So he really poured his heart and soul into these things, into these stories, into this mythos that he was creating. So that's one reason he was really, really, really good at his craft. The other reason I would attribute the success of his stories to is the fact that it's built on the foundation of Christianity. Tolkien is famous for saying that The Lord of the Rings is a fundamentally Catholic and Christian work. He said that in a letter to some fan. But yeah, and that's evident, I think, to any informed person who reads his works. If you read the Silmarillion, it's very evident that major plot points in his mythology follow plot points in the Bible. You've got creation by a single god. You have the fall of the angels. You have the fall of Lucifer. Melkor is basically Lucifer. You have the fall of, well, I can't honestly say humanity, but it's basically the fall of humanity, kind of. It's the Middle Earth parallel to that, with the kinslaying. So yeah, there are a lot of major plot points that his mythology shares with the Bible, and they're clearly inspired by the Bible, and I think that's really cool. So yeah, but yeah, like his Christian worldview is interwoven throughout his stories, and I think at a very fundamental level, those stories resonate with people in a Christian world. Like, you don't necessarily have to be Christian to like these stories, obviously, because they're fundamentally good stories, at a very fundamental level. I keep on using that word. But like, I think specifically people who have grown up in Western civilization, people who have had their imaginations shaped by the story of Christianity, I think The Lord of the Rings resonates with them in a peculiar way because of the culture in which they were raised, and because of the culture out of which Tolkien's works were born out of. So yeah, those are the reasons I would mention. Tolkien was really good at his craft and Christianity, basically. Oh, there's one more thing that I would like to share. And I actually have to leave in about 8 minutes, so we might need this might be a good, closing thing. But my favorite word is actually coined by J.R.R. Tolkien. He coined the word Eucatastrophe. I mentioned it earlier, but it means good catastrophe, and that's the word that he applied to. Let's see. That's the word that he applied to the ending of The Lord of the Rings. It's basically a plot in which, things are going really, really badly, and then there's a sudden turning, a sudden shift in the direction of good. A good catastrophe, if you would like to put it that way. He's called the incarnation of Christ a catastrophe. I think he called it the greatest catastrophe, or eucatastrophe, in human history, because it was the sudden turning of human history, I guess, in a sense, because God came down, he became man, and things started looking up for us, I guess, because, Christianity was born, and suddenly the salvation of the world was nigh. But also, the resurrection is a catastrophe, or a eucatastrophe. My goodness, I need to not be blasphemous here. But yeah, I usually see the resurrection and eucatastrophe as synonymous concepts, because with resurrection, it's the idea of life coming out of death. And with eucatastrophe, it's the idea of really, really things going really, really badly, and then there being a sudden turning towards a good and happy ending, So in a sense, the resurrection was a good catastrophe, I think you could say.